Are you going to bring Barry in, or do you want me to?
If you could do it, that'd be great.
All right.
Okay, guys, Okay, hold on a second. Okay, it appears that our video is not going to work this afternoon, so we're going to dispense with that. This is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. I want to welcome everybody to our program tonight, this afternoon. Whenever you are watching this program here today, will be today, tonight, this afternoon, tomorrow, whatever. But we appreciate you all being here. We really do. This is an important program because tonight we've got two special guests. Two special guests, guys. One of them name is Barry Prince. Many of you know Barry from having been here on the program before. He's been on the program many times, and I want to welcome him, and I want to also welcome our friend, our dear friend, Dave Delisle here. Dave Delisle. Dave Delisle has been a very good friend of mine for years and years and years. This is Barry Prince right here. Let me show you a picture of Dave Delisle here. Just a second here. Dave has been a very dear friend of mine for a lot of years, more years than I want to even think about, quite honestly. But Dave has been around. He has shared with me many things for his life and mine as well. So I want to introduce Barry and Dave here. Dave Delisle is on the right. Barry Prince is on the left-hand side. Barry Prince is a great guy, guys. He's an emergency preparedness guru in his own mind, in his own place in Terrace, British Columbia. He lives over in the southwestern part of British Columbia. Dave, however, lives on the eastern side of Canada. Now, it's a wonderful thing to have them here tonight. Barry, are you here with us?
I'm here, Dave. You're right. And I got to correct you. I live in northern British Columbia, not southern British Columbia.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I can almost see Alaska from my house.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He just needs his glasses.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Dave, won't you introduce yourself as well?
Yeah. For the most part, you all know me. Smart Alec and friend to the show and good friend of Ron's and Barry's.
And Barry's, yes. Yeah. In fact, Dave introduced me to Barry years ago. Barry has his own program, his radio program on Revolution Radio. It's a great program. He's had a lot of guests on his program over the years, and he continues to do that. Now, guys, let's talk about whatever's going on in Canada to start off with.
Go ahead, Barry.
Start with the Carney Gnome show. Let's start with the fact that we're living under a dictator, and unbelievable what's going on in this country right now, Ron. It makes me almost brings me to tears when I see what's going on in Canada. Our immigration system is broken. Our financial system is broken. Everything is broken in Canada. There's nothing that is the way it should be. And I don't know what to say, Dave. What do you think?
I think I agree with you. See, I've been posting my feelings on the whole thing. And to me, Carney is not my prime minister. He's nothing more than a tyrannical dictator, and he's far worse than Trudeau ever was.
Yep. We think bad with Trudeau. Wait until Carney starts bringing in some of the changes that he's proposing. He's proposing outlawing all vehicles prior to 1920 or 2020. Wait a second, no, 20.
Yeah.
Okay, 2000. So anything after 2000 or anything before 2000 is going to be phased off the roads in Canada. So all these boys that have their toys, all these guys with collectible cars in Canada, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of them, are going to get it from the government that they have to turn in their toy. How do you think that's going to go with a lot of big, strong Canadian guys that aren't going to take this bullshit? Excuse my language, bull crap from the government. It's unbelievable what he came out with.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to listen to him. I'm going to refuse to comply. We all have to stand up and refuse to comply to this guy because he is worse. Dave said he's worse than Trudeau. He is going to destroy Canada. And
Yeah.
What can I say?
That's exactly it. And what's even worse is he wants everything to be electric vehicles. Well, that's nice, but they don't work in the north.
No, they don't.
When it gets cold, there's all kinds of issues with it. But hey,
So
they want to spend money. They're climate alarmists, and the reality is it's all a scam.
It is. There's nothing wrong with our climate. There's nothing wrong with our climate at all. Actually, our levels of CO2 are at very low levels right now. We're at 400 parts per million of CO2 gases in our atmosphere. At 200 parts per million, plant life stops growing. So in other words, we're getting close to the point where life is not going to grow on this planet. All plants are going to stop growing if we get to 200 parts per million. And what are they doing? They're attacking carbon. They made carbon an enemy. Well, it's not our enemy, it's our friend. And they've turned it around. These climate alarmists are absolutely insane. They have no idea what they're talking about. And carbon is our friend, man. It's not our enemy. And we have to stop attacking it. We have to start supporting it.
Carbon.
And 2,000 parts per million, if we reach 2,000 parts per million, the earth would be green, and there'd be green and then more green. But they don't want that.
They want to destroy. They want to destroy the earth as we know it. The fact of the matter is, our plants provide us with oxygen. Plants and trees all over the world provide us with oxygen. The plants survive only because there's carbon dioxide in the air. That's a fact. If the idiot elites, including Carney or the former Biden administration, or the Democrats, the communist Democrats here in America, if they even think that they're going to eliminate carbon by getting rid of automobiles or other trucks and such, they're out of their minds. It's not going to happen. Plain and simple, it's not going to happen. Barry, where did you guys? Barry and Dave, where did you guys go? I think we may have lost Barry and Dave here. Hello, Barry and Dave.
In the last 100 years.
There we are.
Major eruption.
Yeah.
So
among other things.
What are they talking about?
Yeah.
What are they talking about? It is such bullcrap.
What they want to do is just ridiculous. They're culling our cattle, they're culling our chickens, they're, realistically, chickens and ducks and whatever, and pigs. Why are they doing this? Well, because there's less food. If there's less food, the government controls the food. Now, if you can't have a garden, if they ban gardening, and they've been talking about that for a few years. If they ban these things, they have all the control. And if you don't comply, you don't eat.
You control the food, you control the population, Dave.
Yeah. I refuse.
That's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to get us eat synthetics, man. Nothing but synthetics. They don't want any natural food. It's all
gotta have crickets
synthetically produced in a lab or in a factory. And that's what they want to feed us, man. I was told, I'm going to chase this story down, but I was told today by a couple people that I was given a link. I haven't looked at it yet, but each synthetic brand, they're putting a chemical in the milk that we drink now that is poison. And the reason they're putting this chemical in our milk supply is to reduce the cow farts, because cow farts are killing the planet. And if you buy that line of crap, I'll sell you a bridge in New York City. I mean, but they're putting this is true, and I'm going to chase it down. And they're putting a chemical that the cows are now eating, and it's the reason for it is to reduce the amount of methane coming out of the butt of the cow. But also, it's in our food system. It gets into the milk, and we're drinking it. And I was told to stop drinking milk. Period. But I got to find out the whole story behind this. This link just came to me today, and I'm going to look into it.
Well, I've been looking into this stuff too with the mRNA. They're adding that stuff to our feed so that our animals get the mRNA, and of course, if we eat the animals, then we get it too.
The reason, well, not only that, they're putting into the aerosol sprays that they're spraying all over the place, man. I mean, nanotechnology allows the whole story behind sizes. They can make a radio receiver, something that you can't even see.
I've been looking into this stuff too with the mRNA. They're adding that stuff to our feed so that our animals get the mRNA, and of course, if we eat the animals, then we get it too.
Same thing with mRNA vaccines. Not only that, they could put those in the jet sprays that they're covering us with, and we could be taking mRNA technology into our bodies and not even knowing. They can make them. These people are eating something that you can't even eat.
I've been looking into this stuff too with the mRNA. They're adding that stuff to our feed.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just, this is all crazy, guys. The governments have wanted to take us down. Right now, under President Trump is not allowing the elites of the world to do it. He's divorced us from the UN, not being responsible to the United Nations, not being responsible to the World Health Organization or the Economic Forum. Nothing. That's what's going on.
Stuff that they're doing. This is it's bad, but it's not the worst.
Yeah.
They're keeping us distracted. Yeah, they're keeping us distracted with superficial implementations of different laws, but really what's going on behind the scenes, we don't know, and that scares me because they are sitting in their little back rooms right now, having their meetings and planning.
See, the problem is that the fly in the ointment for people like Danielle Smith and even Quebec. Quebec has now decided that they no longer want to honor the king, which is fine. They want to be separate from it, and now to them there's no more king, and that's fine. But Carney and the liberals, and the deep state, they're freaking out because Danielle Smith is right, Quebec is right. They're losing control, and they don't.
Looks like we lost the audio from Barry and Dave again. Let me see if we can bring it back up here. I don't know why this is happening. It should not be happening at all.
She's the one premier in this country right now that I applaud for what she's doing.
You know, this has gotten so bad over the years, and right now they can't control the United States, and the United States is trying to help Canada. Now, what I'm wondering, guys, is we were told that Canada this week, in fact, during the last 24 hours, Trump has also again offered Canada the ability to be the 51st state. And he's also offered to have what he's calling the
Tisha's in a world of trouble now.
Yeah, we're losing her, Ron.
Letitia's lost her job.
Yeah. And she's going to jail.
And she's going to go to jail. Letitia's been thrown out of the the New York court system. She's no longer the Attorney General of New York. She's going to go down. She's going to go to jail. She's suffering the same things that she accused President Trump of. She
And
committed
she's
the same crime
doing it.
that she accused President Trump of, and she's never exonerated President Trump. She did it.
Yep.
She did it. The deep state went after President Trump, and yet all of them, not just Letitia James, but all of the senators and congressmen here in the United States have been found to be doing the same things that they accused President Trump of, which is crap. It's all crap. It should never happen. Yet they continue and pound on President
Well,
Trump.
I'm interested in seeing. Yep. Got to do the same thing to her. But I'm more interested with the stuff that's going on over there than I am with Canadian politics, because Canadian politics is just, well, it's a clown show.
Yeah, it's a con show. What is going to happen now? I understand that King Charles came over from England and addressed the Canadians. What's going on? What's going on with that?
Yeah. The biggest, he came here.
Barry and Dave, you can still hear me. Your volume keeps going out. My volume's gone out too? Yes, it has. Hold on. Let me see if I can change that now.
Go into the world who was on the Epstein list.
Okay. Testing.
From the
Testing 1, 2, 3. Test. Barry and Dave, we've lost signal with you guys. Dave, can you get with Barry and call back, please? I'm going to try here to get better volume here as well. I don't understand why right now we have lost volume here. I'm trying to fix that as we speak here. Testing 1, 2, 3, test. Testing 1, 2, 3, test. Testing 1, 2, 3, test. Testing 1, 2, 3.
There he is.
Okay, I think we're back. We keep losing you. I don't know why, but we keep losing your audio. And quite honestly, my audio's also gone to crap here. And I'm trying to fix that as well. I don't know why that's happened here. Guys, are you still here?
Playing the game, eh? The censorship game. Don't want the truth getting out.
I have a feeling that's what's going on.
Yeah.
They're playing the censorship game here. I don't get it. I don't get it. We've done our job here, and they keep playing these games with us.
Yeah, well, the
Testing 1, 2, 3. Oh gosh. Testing 1, 2, 3. Barry and Dave, are you guys still here?
from our minerals, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. You know, there's no reason.
Well, we're the most taxed people in the world. One of the highest. We're one of the highest taxed people in the world.
Yeah.
And yet we have more resource than any other country on the planet, period. So we should be getting a check from the government every month. We shouldn't be paying a penny, not a single penny in any tax in Canada based on our resource wealth. But
Well,
where's that money going?
The immigrants are getting it. Why can't we?
Yeah. If you're an immigrant and you come to Canada, boy, are you ever treated like gold, Ron? You wouldn't believe the BS that we're putting up with. They get like $6,000 a month. $6,000 a month. We as a Canadian get $2,000 on my pension. That's what
if we're lucky.
But if we're lucky, and they're giving these immigrants huge amounts of money. Not only that, they're subsidizing them in the industries and all the work and jobs in Canada. If you hire an immigrant, you get a 30% reduction. The government will cover 30% of that immigrant's wages if you hire an immigrant. If you hire a white guy, you don't get any assistance from the government. But if you hire an immigrant, you get 30% of that immigrant's wages covered by the government. What kind of bullcrap is that?
Yeah, plus the money that they get from the government every month anyway. And the amount of kids, they get a big chunk of money for each kid. They get car allowances.
They get car allowances, they get cell phone allowances, they get living allowances, they get food allowances from the government, and they're immigrants.
And
they have not been in Canada for more than a couple of years, and they're treated like gold, And we have veterans living on the street in Canada, living on the streets.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on in our country?
And they get complete medical coverage. Absolutely. Dental, eyeglass, everything complete. Yeah, whereas we have to pay for it.
They get dental paid for. We have to pay for dental. Dental's expensive, man. It's expensive. And yet the government is paying for their dental. What the hell is going on inside our government? And why are we screaming at the top of our lungs that we're not going to take this crap? That we're not going to subsidize these guys. Why aren't we screaming at the top of our voices, Dave?
I'm on a disability and I have to pay. I have to pay for certain things like dentures and whatever. And my end of the dentures and that, they don't. And that bothers me. That's not fair. Somebody who's worked in Canada and I'm disabled, but the reality is that happens. But why should I be treated like a second-class citizen when I'm actually a first-class citizen? You figure my heritage, my native heritage and everything, I should be treated a lot better.
I agree.
They are destroying our culture. They are destroying the last 10 years, Trudeau, the amount of people that he's brought into this country, and they're all coming from one demographic in the world, and that's India, with some Chinese mixed in there, but majority of our immigration comes from India. And these people are not good people. They're not. They smile and they talk nice to you, but behind their backs, they're planning to kill us, man. Because they believe in the Quran, and they believe in the word jihad, and they believe in Qateen, and they believe in all these other Islamic rules and regulations. They want Sharia law. They have demonstrations in all cities in Toronto now. Thousands and thousands.
And Ottawa.
In Ottawa, thousands and thousands of them marching on the street, yelling, kill the Jews, kill the Jews. And our Canadian police force stands by and watches them and does nothing about it. They're openly promoting hate in Canada against us.
They threaten cops. They threaten Canadians.
They threaten Canadians. They're running rampant in our country. and we don't have a law force that's standing up to them. Why is that? Why is that? Where are our police? Why aren't these people arrested for chanting "Death to Jews" walking down Main Street, Toronto? Why? Why are the police as bad as them? What's going on in our country, man? It's absolute total bullcrap.
Yeah, it is. And the reality is that what's happened is that Canadians have seen what happened to the convoy and the followers of the convoy. And they're afraid now to step up and speak up because they know it'll happen again. And the reality is, if they're going to kill you, I'd rather go on my feet than on my knees.
Oh, that day's coming real soon, Dave, believe it or not.
Well, it sure seems like that.
They're coming after us.
Well, they said the same thing about Americans. They're coming after Americans as well. They said in 10 years, the white people in America, the white people in the United States of America will be worshiping Islam. They're trying to establish Islamic cities, only Islamic cities in Texas, Michigan, Minnesota, and other places. They're trying to establish these so they can get a foothold and from there spread their crap all over. Now,
It's here now.
Yeah, it's here now. When I faced off with someone from the Muslim community last year, they told me, "Oh, we are a peaceful people. We don't want to hurt anybody. We want to filter in and be like just everybody else." I asked the question, why then? Why then are you trying to establish yourselves as the only religion in this country? This country is the United States of America, and for that matter, Canada. It's a melting pot of everyone. But the Islamists are trying to make themselves rulers. Even in the United States Congress, the House and the Senate, we have Islamic people there. They've risen through the ranks of our society. They've gotten into our government, and they want to take over our government.
And that's how they do it. That's how they do it. They infiltrate right from, bottom to the top. And the reality is, our countries have been, we've been established on a Christian-based culture.
Judeo-Christian values made America what it is, and they're attacking it. Of course, if I've read the Quran, and anybody that hasn't read the Quran, I would suggest that you get a copy of it, sit down and read it, because it will shock you. Their doctrine is not conducive to our doctrine in any shape or form. They're here to take us over. They're here to kill us. Now, they might seem to be nice people on the outside, but that's called kateen. In the Islamic world, that word is given kateen. And that means that you deceive the infidel. You make them think that you're his friend. But when the word jihad is given, and I believe that day's coming, they're all going to turn on us, and they're all going to turn on us in force. And of course,
they will.
Supported by the government. If they're supported by the government, Dave, they got little toys way that we don't even know about, like fully automatics and stuff like that the government is allowing them. If the government is on board in bed with these people, of course they're going to allow them to be armed. So the police turn their back. So I believe that they're going to turn on us, and they're going to turn on us in force when they get to a certain number. They have enclaves all over the country set up, enclaves in every province right now. I see new ragheads every day in Terrace. Every day I see a new one in town. And I observe and I watch the people walking around. And I'm seeing all kinds of new Indians showing up in Terrace, a little town. Well, it's the same problem happening right across the country right now. They're infiltrating our society. They had planned to destroy our society and replace it with Sharia law and replace it with Islam. Boy, I'll tell you, if we don't wake up to this problem, we are going to get overrun by these guys, and it's only a matter of time.
Why do you think they want to take our guns away?
Well, they want to take the guns. Well, of course they want to take guns away, so we can't defend ourselves against these guys when they turn on us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so stupid. I buried my guns, man. They're never going to get my guns. Yep.
Yep.
That's what you guys have to do in Canada is bury the guns. I don't.
Yeah, very. No, you can carry.
Yeah.
You can have it sitting on top of your lap there, and that's legal.
Yep.
I wish I lived in the Americas. I would love to see Canada join America. I would love to see them. There's negatives and there's positives, but there's more positives than there are negatives. Period.
Yep. I agree.
Period.
Canada is not the country that I grew up in.
What?
It has changed so much for the worse.
What has Carney said? What has Carney said about Prince or King Charles visiting Canada this past week?
Well, he's all on board with them, and he's shaking his hand and following him around.
Absolutely.
Blah, blah, blah.
Because he's another globalist.
They're globalists. Period.
Absolutely.
It's unreal. It's unreal.
Okay. All you have to do to realize what's really going on is take a look what's happening in the UK. The UK is being overrun. And the only reason that the king is still around or there's any kind of sovereign there is because it's been allowed. You can change and say that's it, it's over.
Yeah. Our election was fixed. Absolutely. 100% it was fixed.
Absolutely.
They're doing recounts now in many constituents, and they're finding that the conservatives are getting seats back. I think there was 2 seats flipped to them this week.
Yep.
And they're doing recounts in multiple counties now, and they're finding the same thing, all kinds of abnormalities. Well, the government Election Canada stole the election from the Canadian people.
Yep.
5 weeks, 6 weeks before the election was held, Polyev had a tremendous lead in polls, tremendous lead. And all of a sudden, overnight, it flipped. And all of a sudden, the Liberals were the most popular party in Canada.
Yeah, the elbows up crowd.
Literally a couple of days. It was a shock. I was going, what the hell are they talking about? Polyev was estimated to end up with 217 seats, a majority, a mind-blowing majority in the election. And yet, all of a sudden, the polls came out, and Carney was ahead. And I'm going, what kind of crap is this?
Well, they figured he was a businessman, and CBC was putting all the propaganda out, and all the people that are forced to watch the CBC. It's unbelievable. The amount of corruption, the depth of corruption in this country is just far beyond anything you want to see. At least you got Trump over there straightening things out or making a serious attempt at it.
I think
here there's nothing.
Yeah, I think Trump's trying to straighten it out, but we have people, for example, on the U.S. Supreme Court, and I'm talking about Judge Barrett.
Yeah, Amy Barrett.
Amy Barrett, who has since turned away. Trump appointed her, yet she's turned away from Trump now. She's all her rulings so far have been directed towards the Democrat Party.
Whatever it is, Barrett.
She is supporting the Democrat Communist Party of America. She's not supporting President Trump or any conservative ideals. None.
I think the Democrats have something on them, or they've threatened them with something. I really do, because a lot of these opinions coming out of there don't seem to be on the up and up.
No, they don't, and I don't know why. It was after the election that she turned. Prior to the election, all of the conservative members of the Supreme Court were voting conservative. All of them.
Yep.
Yes, the Democrat communists on the court were still voting on that side. They're two completely separate, distinct bodies on the Supreme Court. Now, Amy Coney Barrett has turned to the Democrat communists. Unreal. And it's coming apart. Our Supreme Court is coming apart. They've been ruling against President Trump. We have enough federal district judges that have been ruling against President Trump, and one federal judge ruled against him deporting illegal aliens. And
Yeah.
now Trump yesterday asked the Supreme Court to give him permission again, which the Supreme Court did a week and a half ago, give him permission to deport these illegal aliens. Now he's asking again because a federal district court judge here is going up against him, ruling against him. We have to, at some point in time, these federal district court judges have to be taken down. It must come out that the federal district court judges cannot rule against the president of the United States. They are not the executive branch.
They should at least be following the Constitution. It's crystal clear on this stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crystal clear. But these district court judges think they can rule against the president. They can't.
That's right. How many people voted for them? None.
None.
The people of America spoke, and what they wanted was what Trump put out. It's that simple. This is what we're going to do. Either vote for me or don't. And the majority of the people said, yeah, we want this. Who are they to stand in the way? Because if that's the case, what do we need a president, or what would we need a prime minister for? We just let the courts run everything.
Yeah. And that's not supposed to happen. The court.
No, it's not. It's supposed to be a separate entity.
Yeah. Separate, distinct entity on equal levels. Equal levels.
And it's the law of the land that rules.
Yeah. But they're going against the law of the land. They're going against.
See, in Canada, we don't, anything that we have that says that we have any rights, that can be taken away from us at any given point. Freedom of speech, all of it. We have realistically no rights. What our Constitution and our Charter of Rights realistically should have been written on is toilet paper.
Yep.
Because that's about what it's good for here. Yeah. I said Canada's in a bad way. It really is. And my wife keeps saying, do you think that we're going to go this way? I said, we got to wait and let this play out. This is what I think. I think that things are going to go Trump's way in Canada, but it's going to take some time because Trump's not going to put up with the garbage that's going on here. He doesn't want a country that's supporting terrorists, that's allowing terrorists to come into the country, because America is right next to us.
Yeah.
He will put a stop to all this garbage.
I hope he does.
Well, I hope he does too. And again, I think that this is how it's going to play out, but it's going to take time.
Well, it was up to me. I'd open the borders up to the U.S. military, tell them all to come in here, take over this country, and straighten out the mess. Because we're losing it.
None of this stuff that Carney said they would do, like strengthening the border, they really haven't done anything of the such.
No.
All that money, it's just one more lie to add to the collection. And the people, the Canadian people, and again, I believe that a lot of these immigrants should not have voted, but I believe they did.
Yep. I've got to leave here, Ron, in about 4 minutes.
No problem.
I told David at the start of the show that I could only stay at 2 o'clock today because I have to go downtown. So I have to leave here in about 4 minutes. So
no problem.
Just giving you a heads up. I
appreciate that. Guys, I love you both. You know that. And I appreciate you being on the program. I wanted you to come in here and explain to us exactly what's going on in Canada. We don't get the truth through our local media. Our local media purports that Canada wants nothing to do with the United States. Canada doesn't like us. Canada hates us. And that the king has already told Canada to come in line with the British crown and not pay attention to America.
Yeah, well, that's not the majority of Canadians. The majority of Canadians that are afraid to speak up because they saw what happened to the convoy. They're afraid to. Oh, we don't want to get hurt. But what they don't realize is either way, it's coming.
Yeah.
So either stand up and speak out or go on your knees. I won't go on my knees.
Me either.
Yep.
Me either.
Those days are coming, man. And boy, I'll tell you, the Canadian government is about to go tyrannical. They think it's bad right now. Give them 6 months of control and watch what they're going to do. We're supposed to have minority government in Canada. So why aren't we having a stop to these new bills being proposed and put through? What's going on there? How come minority government has more power than it's supposed to have? Why aren't we speaking out against that? I have a lot of questions. I have no answers.
Well, the Governor General has been making a lot of the rules lately, and that's being pushed by the Liberal government through Trudeau before, and now through Carney. They don't even have to. Parliament is realistically, it's just a showpiece now. It's nothing other than
a joke
because there's no control anymore.
You listen to them go back and forth in the Parliament, and it's like a couple kids having an argument in the playground. You know, it's almost comical. It's sad. It's so sad that it's comical. Anyways, I have to step out of here, guys. I'm gonna have to
Okay.
go. But
I'll let you guys go.
No All right.
Well, Dave can say if he wants, but I have to go, and maybe we can get together and do this again in a couple of weeks or a week, whatever. Just give me a call and I'll be around for you.
I'll do that. Thanks so much, Dave.
Yeah, thanks,
Barry,
guys. It's good to see all you again. I haven't been on much lately. I've been busy doing other things. Health stuff is more a priority right now for me. Trying to stay healthy.
Yeah.
I hear you.
You need to stay healthy, Dave. You can't be going away on us.
Yes, please.
Okay, Ron, I'll let you go. Thanks to your viewing audience for tuning in and listening to us babble.
Thanks, Barry.
Well, listen to you babble.
Yeah.
Listen to who babble?
You.
Was I babbling?
No, you just didn't get on your roll like you usually do, eh?
I'm kind of on a roll. I'm just starting to get warmed up, and I gotta go. So,
of course. All right, have a good one, Barry. Ron, take it easy.
You too.
Everybody, EMA family, love you.
Love you. Be safe.
You too.
See you on the other side, guys.
God
bless. Bye.
Bye.
That was Barry Prince and Dave Delisle from Canada. Barry Prince in Northern British Columbia, Canada, in Terrace, Canada, and Dave Delisle over north of Ontario. It's great to have you all here. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. Now, folks, we want to talk about emergency preparedness tonight. I promised you that Fridays would be Emergency Preparedness Fridays, and that's where we're going. I'm hoping that we have a lot of people here that are here with us that want to be part of our program tonight. So far, I believe we probably only have about 300 or 400 people that are watching this program tonight. I'm hoping that number will go skyrocketing right now. Again, I want to tell you that Letitia James has been removed from the New York State court system. She was the Attorney General. She's been removed completely. She's also been told that she has to repay the New York State tens of thousands of dollars for stealing money. She's stolen a lot of money. She's done the same thing that President Trump did. Unreal. And Letitia James has now been caught. I believe other politicians are also going to get caught as well. Letitia James is just one of the many people in the pile of communists here in America that are going to get their hands slapped and end up going to prison. Now, there was a conversation that we had with Kash Patel during the last few days. Kash Patel is telling us that there are a lot of people that are going to go to jail. They're pending their arrest right now. One of them is a former FBI director, James Comey. James Comey is walking on thin ice right now. As you know, about a week and a half ago, allegedly he and his wife were walking along the beach when he saw a bunch of small seashells that were arranged in a pattern. The pattern said 8647. 8647. We all know what 86 means. That means do away with, get rid of. In some corridors, in law enforcement corridors, it means kill. Kill Trump. 47's President Trump. Now, Comey said he found that on the beach. That's a bunch of bullcrap. Right now, there are a lot of FBI agents that are looking into what James Comey did. Now, he blamed it first on his wife. His wife said, "Oh, take a picture of it, post it on Facebook." Bullcrap. James Comey used to be the FBI director before Christopher Wray. James Comey knows better. James Comey was a cop and the FBI director. He knows better. He knows he shouldn't have done that. When he was in power as the FBI director, he stood up against Trump. And as a result, he committed crimes, and then Trump fired him. Since then, he's written a book that is also up against Trump as well. He's gone on his book tour bad-mouthing President Trump. Then he came out with this seashell thing, and now earlier this week he was arrested by the FBI and taken into the FBI headquarters for questioning. Now he's on house arrest. I believe he's now on house arrest. He's walking on thin ice. He's going to end up going to prison just like the others. And there's a lot more that goes with that as well. It's unfortunate this is happening in our country. This is very unfortunate. It should never be happening. But we have communists in high places, communists that want to take over our country, communists even that want to get rid of President Trump. And in fact, someone was arrested yesterday morning. An illegal alien was arrested yesterday morning. He wrote a letter saying that he wanted off President Trump during one of President Trump's rallies. He wanted to kill President Trump with his .30-06 rifle. He was going to do it during one of President Trump's rallies, and then he was going to voluntarily 86 himself out of the U.S. into Mexico. Unreal. Unreal. That Mexican national has now been taken into custody. He's in a United States jail for threatening the President of the United States. He's pending deportation. Now, guys, he already came into the United States 9 times. 9 times since 1998. Came in illegally into the United States 9 times. Now he threatened the life of the President of the United States. I don't believe he needs to be deported. He needs to be arrested and spend his life in jail or get the death penalty. If you threaten somebody's life, that's an arrestable offense. That's a violation of law. If you threaten our president, that's a violation of federal law. It's a death penalty situation. I believe it should be a death penalty situation. If he would have threatened me, Heather, Sage Pup, Demon Catman, Dawn, Ray, any of you, Brenda Turner, he would have been in jail. He would have been in jail. But now he's in jail, and that's where he's at. Now they're saying he's going to be deported from this country. If he's deported back to Mexico or anywhere else, there is a possibility that he will have other ties to other people here in the United States that will try to do something again. He needs to be put into solitary confinement, not allowed to see anybody, not allowed to write letters, not allowed to talk to anybody. He needs to be put into solitary confinement, and if he's tried and convicted, he needs to face a death penalty. That's my opinion. I know there are a lot of other people that don't believe that, but that's how I feel. You threaten the President of the United States, that should be a death penalty situation. My own opinion. Okay? Sage Pup is asking, wasn't Comey placed by Obama? Yeah. Yeah. Comey's first placed into the FBI by Obama. He was allowed to stay there by President Trump, and then he was fired. Unreal. Unreal. Now, Hurricane Heather is saying Cash and Dan have lied to us. They have. They have lied to us. Cash and Dan were before an interview with Maria Bartiromo from CNN. Actually, I don't think she's with CNN anymore. She's with Fox News. But she was interviewing, Maria Bartiromo was interviewing Cash and Dan from the FBI. Dan Bongino is the assistant director of the FBI. Cash Patel is the director of the FBI. They were asked a question. They were asked a question about the island where a lot of sex activities were had by many of the elites in our society around the world and here in the United States, including Obama and other politicians, including Clinton. Both of the Clintons went to that island separately and together many times. Unreal. Now, he was eventually arrested, put in a penitentiary in New York, supposedly a federal penitentiary in New York. Then all of a sudden, cameras that had been monitoring him in the cell were turned off or ceased operational capability. The correctional facility guards were also not paying attention to him, and he was allowed to either disappear or die. Now, he allegedly hung himself in jail. Allegedly, he hung himself in jail. Prior to Dan Bongino going into the FBI, Dan Bongino himself said that he didn't believe that he killed himself. He didn't believe he killed himself. Now, Cash and Dan both are saying that he killed himself. And there's plenty of evidence to substantiate that. And Cash Patel said yesterday that the files are available now. They were hidden by Comey and others. But the files have now been found, and Cash and Dan are going through them with an investigative team to find out what really happened and give the American people the full lowdown on exactly what happened. Cash and Dan both told Maria Bartiromo that he was allowed to die. He killed himself. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. That's my opinion. You can take it or leave it. That's my opinion. But until Cash and Dan come back and give us truth, guys, truth. Ray Spur says, I don't think you need to be talking like this. He's leaving. I'm sorry, Ray. I'm sorry. But I'm pretty PO'd about this. Okay? What happened over on that island and what happened to him is beyond reprehensible. And for our own FBI to say that he killed himself, I don't believe it. Sagepub says he has a weird feeling that Cash Patel and Dan Bongino have been getting their lives threatened by bad actors that we don't know about. Yes, they have. And in fact, Cash Patel and Dan Bongino both have hired private security to protect them because there's still people within the FBI itself that have also threatened Dan and Cash Patel's life. They've hired their own private security people, fully armed and licensed to protect them. It's unreal. It's very sad that the directors of the FBI have to hire private security. Incredible. Incredible. Now, Hurricane Heather's been putting up tornado warnings and watches in South Carolina today. Now, folks, there's a lot more to that story than that. Let me give you the information about what's going on here in North Carolina. North Carolina, where I live, we are under a tornado, well, not a tornado watch, but a severe thunderstorm watch right now. They've also said that that watch has turned into a severe thunderstorm warning. It has rained here. It was clouded up, completely overcast here until just about 45 minutes ago. Now things have stopped. Things have stopped. We're still under a thunderstorm watch until at least 8 p.m. tonight. A severe thunderstorm watch until 8 p.m. tonight. Let me give you the information about that right now. Earlier today at approximately 1 p.m., the National Weather Service had issued a severe thunderstorm watch until 8 p.m. tonight. In Georgia, South and North Carolina. South Carolina has thunderstorm and tornado warnings right now. But the tornado warnings also include the tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings and watches include Burke County, North Carolina, where I live. Meaning, we all need to be aware of what's going on. We all need to be aware of what's going on. This warning also includes high winds upwards of 45 to 50 miles per hour. Rain, severe rain, and the possibility of flooding. Okay, that's until 8 p.m. tonight, Eastern Time. Right now it's 5 p.m. Okay, this warning and watches go on until at least 8 p.m. tonight. But again, this is for North Carolina, and I have a complete list of warning areas by way of counties and cities. It's unreal. It's unreal. That's going on now. Now, I want to show you something else. As of 1 p.m. today, 1 p.m. today, this is how the weather looked today. Okay? Right here where you see that red dot, that's where I live. At that time, there was a severe thunderstorm almost directly north of us, up near Hickory, North Carolina. Look at this line, excuse me. Look at this line of thunderstorms here, stretching all the way down into Georgia. Look at that, severe line of thunderstorms all the way up here into North Carolina, West Virginia, and Virginia. Look at the thunderstorms up here. The green is heavy rain. The green area is heavy rain. Where you get into severe thunderstorms, this is in the yellow and red and orange areas. Severe thunderstorms. Okay? Yes, we've had severe thunderstorms here already today. Already today. Right now, these storms right here are over Morganton, North Carolina here. It's not going to be continuous. It's going to be spotty. It's going to be spotty. Lamb's Light said the sky is kind of yellow right now. Yellow. Imagine that. Now, Lamb's Light is asking me to show all of you where she lives. Let me do that right now. That orange dot is where I live here. Lamb's Light lives up here in Asheville, North Carolina. She lives up here in the tops of the mountain here in Asheville, North Carolina, right there. She lives about 75 miles from me. Okay? Unreal. Unreal. That's what's going on. Now, over here in West Virginia, look at that. Severe thunderstorm there. Charleston, very severe thunderstorm there as well. Look at that. Unreal. That's continuing, guys. It's continuing. Now, I did speak with Richard Smith here earlier this afternoon about, I believe it was around 2 o'clock, and he told me some of those storm systems spread from where I live all the way up into Nova Scotia, Canada. So we are having this huge storm system from way down south in Georgia all the way up in Nova Scotia, Canada. Unreal. Chrissy's here in the chat. She's saying, Ron, do you know if Robbinsville was hit hard? I don't know. I don't know. Robbinsville isn't on my list of counties or cities with this storm here. Let me go back here and just double check with that. In Georgia, this watch includes 5 counties: Elbert, Hart, Franklin, Stevens, and Habersham in Georgia. In Piedmont, North Carolina, Alexander, Cleveland, Iredell, Rowan, Cabarrus, Davie, Lincoln, Union, Catawba, Gaston, Mecklenburg, Burke, Polk, Caldwell, Rutherford, and McDowell. In South Carolina, Asheville, Chester, Lawrence, Spartanburg, Anderson, Greenville, Oconee, Union, South Carolina, Cherokee, Greenwood, Pickens, and York. I just gave you all the counties here within Georgia, South Carolina, or North Carolina where that storm is. Again, this is going to continue until approximately 8 p.m. tonight. Lamb's Light says up where she lives near Asheville, North Carolina, the storms are just rolling in and out of there. That's what they're doing here. Just when I came on the air an hour ago, the storm system had rolled completely in here and we had overcast skies. Now we have partly cloudy skies and we can all actually see blue sky over our head right now. Yes, we can see the scattered clouds throughout the area, but right now we see partly cloudy skies, even blue skies and clouds around the area. Unreal. The storms keep rolling in and out of here. That's going to continue to happen. Now, why am I talking about this? Why do you think I'm talking about this? Let me show you my next slide here. I wish I'd transferred this to the hard slide here on our program tonight, but I want to show you this. This yellow area, this is out in the outskirts of the warning area here. Possibly light rain. The orange and red areas here, like I said, are where the severe thunderstorm watches and warnings are. The red area that you see here is the possibility where we may have tornadoes. This red area here is the possibility where we may see tornadoes here. Okay. That tornado area is to the north, Danville, Virginia, Lexington, Raleigh, Fayetteville, Charlotte, North Carolina, Wilmington, Havelock, Myrtle Beach, Columbia, Augusta, Charleston, and Savannah, Georgia. That's where it is. I talked from north to south here just a second ago. That's what's going on here. All of us need to be concerned with these areas if we live there, we have family and friends there. If you have family or friends there, you need to call them and give them a heads up if they don't already know. We need to protect everybody. We need to protect everybody here. Linda Covington's here in the chat saying many 2025 graduations today all over Richmond, Virginia. That's what they're doing. We had graduations last weekend here in Morganton. Many of my friends had their sons and daughters graduate from high school and even college during the last 2 weeks. Our friend Rebecca had her daughter 2 weeks ago graduate from the University of North Carolina. Great thing. Very great thing. Wonderful thing to have your daughter graduate from college. But folks, that's what we have here. Now I want to talk about emergency preparedness. As I have been talking about preparedness during the past week or so, I've given you a lot of information. I will continue giving you information as I get it. I promise you that. Now, as we get more and more information, I'm going to pass it on to you. I don't want to ever leave you in the dark, ever. That's not what we do here on the EMA. Now, I want to talk about what is going on before, during, and after an earthquake. The past few days, we have been talking about earthquakes and volcanoes. I want to talk about your risk of an earthquake or volcano during the next 45 minutes. What do you think about before, during, and after an earthquake or even volcanic eruption? I want you to know your risks. What is an earthquake? What is an earthquake? Ruth St. John said she just received a severe thunderstorm alert, tornado watch in Chesapeake, Virginia. That's going to be ongoing, guys. Please watch yourself. Deb Reese is here as well. Thank you for being here, Deb. Anyway, an earthquake is a sudden, rapid shaking of the earth, the ground that we're walking on, caused by the breaking and the shifting of subterranean rock. The breaking and shifting of subterranean rock as it releases strain that is accumulated over a long period of time. Initial mild shaking may happen, but initial mild shaking may strengthen and become extremely violent within seconds. Additional earthquakes called aftershocks. They follow the initial earthquake. Just like foreshocks happen before the actual quake. Foreshocks may be smaller in magnitude than the original shock wave that happens after that. But additional earthquakes called aftershocks may continue after the original quake. Earthquakes may cause household items to become dangerous projectiles. Earthquakes may cause buildings to move off foundations and, as a result, cause those buildings to come down on top of the occupants. Okay? That shaking can cause the buildings to move off the foundations and actually collapse. The shaking can also damage utilities. It can damage underground electrical lines. It can damage water lines. It can also damage natural gas lines and even break them, causing fires. Earthquakes can damage roads and structures such as bridges and dams. They can cause fires and explosions. The shaking could also trigger landslides. We've seen that over in Peru. We've seen it in Brazil. We've seen it over in Brazil. We've seen it in Colombia. All over the place, including the Philippines recently. These earthquakes can trigger landslides, avalanches, and tsunamis. Now, lately, the earthquakes that we've had haven't caused big tsunamis. Big tsunamis. Big tsunamis can range in size from 10 feet high or 3 meters high up to 70 meters high. Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. So far, we've seen inches or centimeters of water gathered. Not much of a tsunami, is there? And the fact, we've seen the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration issue a tsunami warning and rescind it within minutes. That's happened. But we need to make sure we understand what earthquakes can do. Where do earthquakes happen? All around the world. Literally all around the world. All 50 states and 5 U.S. territories and all over every country of the world can have earthquakes and landslides as well. We saw recently during this week what happened over in Switzerland when a landslide happened there. The rock of the Alps fell down. Rock from the Alps fell down, causing a huge landslide. That landslide caused the rock to fall upon a town. And also the glacial deposits on the mountain there also came down. Water flooding that area, causing the potential of flooding downstream of other communities. This is an ongoing issue over in Switzerland right now. We've already lost one complete community that fortunately had been evacuated after the rocks first slipped. The entire community was evacuated, and there are pictures of the entire community buried. There are pictures of the entire community buried. Now, this happens. This happens. Now, I don't believe that was an earthquake that brought it down. It was just rock slippage off the side of the Alps Mountains. That happened. What is the risk? What is the risk? Risk of life or damage to property. The risk for life and damage to property. The risk is higher in identified seismic zones, including what we talked about this week being the San Andreas Fault in California, the Cascadia Subduction Zone in Washington, Western Oregon, and Alaska, and the pneumatic seismic zone spanning areas in Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, and other areas. We've also seen earthquakes we talked about on the East Coast as well, including the Mid-Atlantic, coastal South Carolina, and New England. When earthquakes can happen at any time of the year, and usually they occur without warning. Although many earthquakes usually last less than a minute. Aftershocks following the initial quake, like I've talked about, may occur for hours, days, months, and even years, as we've seen over in Turkey-Syria border region and over in southwestern Puerto Rico. Turkey-Syria border region 2 years ago, February 3rd, 2023, had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that ripped through there. Killed over 5,000 people and injured over 5,000 others. It also caused a huge fissure to open up in Turkey that spread for 14 miles. The fissure was actually deep enough to house an 8-story building. That's how deep that fissure was. We've also seen deep fissures over in Antarctica, where 5 years ago we had a 9.0 earthquake, and a huge fissure opened up there that spanned 12 miles in the open ice. We've seen it happen. It's going to happen again. What do we do before an earthquake? What do we do before an earthquake? Before an earthquake occurs, we need to secure items that could fall or move that might cause injuries or damage to our homes, i.e. securing bookshelves to the exterior walls or any of the walls in your home. Securing the books, the bookcases, the large furniture, and any refrigerators or freezers that are large enough to topple over. Secure them to the studs of your walls. That way they're not going to fall to cause injury or damage. Bookshelves, mirrors, light fixtures, televisions, computers, hot water heaters, Secure those. Move beds away from windows and secure any hanging items over the beds, over couches, around cribs or other places where people might sit or lay down. Make sure all areas of your home are secure. The second thing I've talked about yesterday was practice how to drop, cover, and hold on. Drop, cover, and hold on. When you feel an earthquake happening, find a desk or a heavy table, a strong table or a desk in your home. Get underneath it. Take you and your children underneath the heavy table or desk. Then you hold on to the legs. Keep your head and body underneath the table or desk. Drop to the ground, go underneath the table or desk, covering yourself, and then hold on. Duck, cover, and hold on. Hold on to the table or desk to make sure it's covering your bodies. Cover your neck and bodies with your arms. Hold on to the table and desk to make sure it doesn't move away from you. If a safer place is nearby that you can get to without exposing yourself to flying debris, do so. Crawl to it and hold on to maintain cover. To react quickly, you must practice this often. We've talked about this before. In order to react quickly, you need to practice. You need to conduct a drill in your home. You need to conduct a drill in your home. You may have only seconds to react. You may have only seconds to react to protect yourself or your family in an earthquake. Now, the other thing is this. We've talked about emergency preparedness kits. You need to store critical supplies such as water, medication, and documents. Water, medication, and documents. Documents, make sure you have all your documents. Your insurance paperwork, whether it be car insurance, whether it be homeowner's insurance, renter's insurance, life insurance, health insurance policies, put those in one of those gallon storage bags that has a Ziploc on the top of it. That way, no water or anything else will contaminate those papers and make them unreadable. You need to have those protected. Also, if you have passports, driver's licenses and such, copy those. Make copies of those and put them also in Ziploc bags to protect them. We said the same thing about maps. Maps in case you have to bug out. Mark those maps with the evacuation routes that you're going to have. You're going to have at least 3 evacuation routes. Mark those on the maps and then put them in the gallon bag and Ziploc it to protect them so they'll be safe until you have to bug out. Okay? Make sure you have your food also ready to leave. Make sure you have your bug out bags, your 72-hour kits, whatever you have, ready to leave near your doorway. That way, all you have to do is grab those and run out the door. You don't have to look at them. You don't have to fight to try to find them. They're there ready to move. Next, you need to plan how you're going to communicate with family members, including multiple methods of making family emergency preparedness communications preparedness plan. Multiple methods for making a family emergency communication plan. You may also need to consult a structural engineer for your home to evaluate your home and ask about updates to strengthen your home and make it secure so an earthquake won't destroy it. Many of the homes that we live in are not earthquake proof. They are not earthquake proof. Ruth St. John says old cast iron tubs are good. Not so sure about these newer tubs. I agree. Some of these newer tubs are just plaster, and that's just about it. They can hold you, but if an earthquake hits, they may come apart. Or if something falls on those tubs, they may also come apart, and some of the things that are falling on those tubs can also injure you as well. Consider that. Evaluate where you're going to be. Choosing your home or business to rent or buy. Check to make sure if the building is earthquake resistant per local building codes. During an earthquake, if you are inside a building, drop down onto your hands and knees or underneath a desk or a table. Hold on to the legs of the desk or table. That way you're lowest to the floor so the earthquake shaking does not knock you down. You're holding on for dear life, making sure the table and desk is above your head and body to protect yourself and your loved ones. Otherwise, if you're in an area where you don't have a table or desk, cover your head and neck with your arms and hands like this. Protect yourself from falling debris. I've also said pull a bedroom mattress off of the bed and get underneath it. If you are in danger of falling objects, you can move safely. If you can move safely, crawl for additional cover under a sturdy table or desk. If you do not have a sturdy shelter nearby, crawl away from windows. Stay away from windows next to an interior wall. Stay near an interior wall. Stay away from glass, windows, outside doors and walls. Anything that can fall on you, such as light fixtures or furniture, stay away from them. Hold on to any sturdy covering that you can have. Hold on to any sturdy covering so you can move with it until the shaking stops. Stay where you are until the shaking stops. Stay where you are until the shaking stops. Do not run outside. Do not run outside. I've talked to you about this before. One time I lived in a place called Lakeside, California, in East San Diego County. We had a 5.8 earthquake twice out there. Once while I was in the home, 7 a.m. in the morning. 7 a.m. in the morning, I'm still in bed. That large earthquake, that very large earthquake that hit, the 5.8 earthquake that hit, threw me up in the air and the bed moved. And I ended up on the floor. I ended up on the floor between a window and my bed. A great big huge plate glass window on the wall above my bed. Unreal. And I was on the floor. I saw the glass moving just like this, like waves in the sea. I said immediately to myself, I really did. I said, this is not a good place. I hopped quickly onto the bed to get away from the glass window. I grabbed my pants and a shirt and a pair of shoes and threw them on my feet. At that point in time, the authorities were saying that you need to be under a doorway where that great big piece of wood that's above the doorway might protect you. Well, guess what? Especially in California, they found the walls move. The walls move. That big piece of wood above you could come down on top of you. So now they don't do that. They say, if possible, go next to an interior wall or get underneath a table or desk. That's basically where you need to be. Debris says her bedroom had a backyard sliding glass door. Not a good place to be. When I saw the glass of that window above me on my wall, it was moving like waves in the ocean. Glass was about to break. It did not break, fortunately. but I ran from my bedroom door out into my living room, across my living room to the outside door at the time. Why? Because when I was at the bedroom door, I saw pieces of my ceiling falling onto the carpet at my feet. I thought, oh my gosh. So I ran to the doorway. I threw open the door and stood in that doorway area. Again, right below that great big huge header, that great big huge piece of wood. But then what happened? I realized that my neighbor's stairway and landing above me was just right above my head. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. The ground was still shaking. The ground continued to shake for a very long time. Not just seconds, but maybe minutes. The ground was still shaking. Pieces of concrete from my neighbor's landing above me was falling down on my porch. I thought, that's not good, because if that concrete landing comes down, it's going to take me out as well. Because I didn't feel safe inside my own living room. So I ran like the banshee from heck out into my courtyard of my complex. The courtyard where I stood was away from any windows, was away from any walls that could fall on me, was away from any power poles, light poles, or trees. I was safe. Then a little old Indian man in his 70s or 80s came running out of his apartment and grabbed me. This little old Indian man grabbed me, threw his arms around me, and he was shaking to pieces, scared out of his mind. His little old American Indian man, shaking, squeezed my life out of my body. Then that neighbor, remember I had that neighbor above me? She ran down past her landing, down her stairs, and also out to me where I was standing with that old Indian man. And she threw her arms around me as well, scared out of her mind. She screamed when she saw me. She ran over to me and threw her arms around me until the ground stopped shaking. By that time, I had two people's arms around me, shaking the life out of me, squeezing me. Then all of a sudden, I heard water being thrown out of the pool. When I was out into the courtyard, I didn't even think about our pool, but the water was sloshing out of the pool. The ground was still shaking. I looked over at the pool and I saw big, huge waves of water coming out of the pool. This was a powerful 5.8 earthquake. Large, very large 5.8 earthquake. Unreal. Unreal. Hurricane Heather says, stay away from people who are in a panic. That might be a good idea. But while I was standing there, I heard that water sloshing out of the pool and I realized the ground was still shaking, which it was. I could have sat down on the ground, which would probably have been a better idea, but I was standing there. Two people shaking out of fright, scared out of their minds. Then all of a sudden, the ground stopped shaking. After a few minutes, those two people relaxed their grip on my body where I could actually breathe on my own. Yeah. Other people started coming out of their apartments going, holy cats, that was a long earthquake. Yeah, it was. This is what happens. You need to get safely to a place where you're going to be safe. You need to hurry and get safely to a place to be safe. Chrissy's here in the chat saying that she was in the 1989 Loma Prieta quake up in San Francisco Bay. She says, Ron's giving great advice. She says, I've been through many quakes as a California native. That one scared the pants off me. I agree. I can agree. We saw the damage in San Francisco. The Bay Bridge, the San Francisco Bay Bridge came down 2 decks of the Bay Bridge came down and splashed in the San Francisco Bay. I don't remember how many cars crashed into the water. Cars with people in them. Some of the decks of the top deck of the bridge fell onto the lower deck, trapping people and killing people inside their vehicle. Buildings collapsed. Some of the buildings that collapsed also caught on fire. There was no water pressure. The water mains, the water pipes under the ground were smashed by the earthquake. As a result, there was no water to fight the fires. The fire departments hooked up to hydrants that had no water. All the fire department trucks had was water inside their truck. That's all. They depended on helicopter drops of water. The San Francisco Bay Airport was closed for some time. However, there were some helicopters that got off. They were able to get water from pools and the ocean and the harbor to help put out the fires. Unreal. Unreal. Guys, earthquakes are real. I was in 3 earthquakes in San Diego County. 3 earthquakes in San Diego County. My first earthquake was a 5.6 when I was in Vista, California, North San Diego County. My wife at the time grabbed hold of me. She felt the earth shaking. Our bed was shaking really bad. At the time, we lived in a home that was an adobe brick home. Walls that were 8 inches thick. Walls that were 8 inches thick. We saw the walls moving. The glass in our windows was shaking but didn't break. As soon as we were able to, I extricated myself from my wife's arms. I ran across our home, across our living room where we had a huge stone fireplace in the living room. Pieces of the stone came off the fireplace. Small pieces of stone came off the fireplace and littered the hardwood floor in the living room. I ran across the floor over to the wing where our children were, our daughters. They were safe. They were even sleeping. They slept through the earthquake. The second earthquake, I felt in our bedroom, in my bedroom, after I was divorced. I lived in Lakeside. The third earthquake I had in San Diego County was I was in my truck, right across the street from where I lived, waiting for a friend of mine to get off work. We were going to go out to dinner. The earth started shaking again. Again, that was another 5.8 earthquake. Huge earthquake in San Diego. Incredible. I was sitting in my truck. I was parked, but my truck was moving and shaking really bad. So I was hitting the brake. I was hitting the brake like, I'll get out. Then I realized the engine was off. I looked out the window. I saw power poles moving like this. I was afraid those power poles were going to snap and I'd have electrical lines on top of me. I looked to my right and saw other power poles and light poles also swaying in the wind. Not a good thing. So I quickly turned my truck on and drove away from that area, far enough away where no power poles, trees, or anything else could fall on me. That's where I ended up until the earthquake finished. Incredible. That's what you need to do. If you're in a vehicle near any power poles or trees or light poles, get your vehicle away. You don't want the power poles, light poles, or anything else falling on your vehicle that could injure you. If the electrical lines fall on your vehicle, don't leave the vehicle. Stay inside the vehicle. Don't move it. Those lines are charged. Those lines could fry you. They could kill you. You don't want that to happen. Okay? I'm giving you some advice so you know what happened to me. Then in 1994, again, I was in San Diego County in Lakeside, California. I got a call in the morning after the Northridge earthquake hit in Los Angeles. I got a call from my police captain asking me to pick up my partner, go down and get a police car and drive to Los Angeles, drive to Northridge. He told us to take our sleeping gear if we had any, our sleeping bags or tents, and anything else we could have to last at least 3 days. At least 3 days. We have plenty of 72-hour kits, so we took our 72-hour kits. We took plenty of water as well. I believe we actually bought a case of water before we left San Diego. We got up to Northridge. The earth was still shaking. We patrolled around Northridge, California, and the other communities around Northridge. We went to a park after that, as it was getting dark. My buddy Nick and I pitched tents right next to each other, next to the police car. I just got through falling off to sleep. I don't think I was asleep very long. All of a sudden, a huge aftershock hit. A huge aftershock hit. That earthquake in Northridge was a 6.7, 6.9 quake. Should have been considered a 7.0. That earthquake that hit was an aftershock of that quake. I was on the ground. My partner and I were sleeping in tents on the ground. That earthquake flipped me up into the air and hit me down. I fell back down to the ground. Unreal. That shook me up. That shook me up. I didn't even realize where I was at first. I was in my clothes, in my sleeping bag. I unzipped that tent just as I heard my partner unzipping his tent, getting the heck out of those tents. We had parked away from trees, power poles, or anything else. We were fine. However, in the middle of the night, you don't know where you're at. You actually don't know where you're at. You have no clue. Even if you're home, an earthquake like that, if you've been sleeping, you have no clue what's going on. Just like when I landed on the floor underneath my window. I actually did not understand where I was at first until I realized I had a plate glass 4-foot window above me. On the ground in Northridge, my partner and I quickly threw our sleeping bags and tents into the back of the police car. We got back into the police car and we drove around the rest of the night. We stayed in that park for about a week. That night, we finished the night driving around, making sure people were safe and talking to occupants, residents of Northridge and the surrounding communities. Unreal. One California highway patrolman that same day that the Northridge quake hit, he lost control of his motorcycle on the highway. Driving his motorcycle down the highway, the shaking was so bad. The shaking threw his motorcycle and himself into a concrete bridge abutment and killed himself. That's what can happen. That's what can happen. It's a sad day that I had to go to his funeral about a week later. Very sad day. Folks, we saw apartment buildings pancake on top of cars that were parked beneath the apartment complex. The building was collapsed. We saw homes and businesses also collapse. Incredible. It is scary. It is scary. But the next thing I'm going to tell you is this: keep your wits about you. Keep your wits about you. Even though my partner and I were scared out of our minds when that earthquake hit in the middle of the night. Once we realized where we were, The fright stopped. And because of our training, we were well in control of ourselves and the community around us. We knew what we needed to do, and we did it. I'm asking you to do the same thing. Get to safety. Get to safety any way you can. I'm just telling you that. I'm trying to tell you the truth, what to do. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to share my experience and knowledge with you. Please, folks, please share this experience with everybody else that you know, your friends and family, extended family, other people you associate here on YouTube or other social media, and even the people you work with. We all can help survive and maybe save some people's lives. If you are in a building or in your home, and if getting to safely to the floor might be difficult, actions before an earthquake happens. Actions before an earthquake happens to secure or remove items that can fall on top of you or become projectiles should be a priority to create safe space. Creating safe space. Identify a place away from windows and objects that could fall on you. The Earthquake Country Alliance advises people to get down as low as possible to the floor of the ground. Get down as low as possible to the floor of the ground. That way the earthquake won't knock you off your feet. People who use wheelchairs or other mobility devices should lock their wheels, bend over, and remain seated until the shaking stops. Protect your head and your neck with your arms, a pillow, a book, or whatever you can find that is available. If you are in a bed when you feel the shaking, stay there. Cover your head and neck with a pillow. At night, hazards and debris are difficult to see and avoid. Attempts to move in the dark could result in more injuries than remaining in your bed. If you are outside when you feel the shaking, if you are outside when the shaking starts, move away from the buildings, move away from streetlights and power poles and utility wires. Stay far, far away from power poles and utility wires. Once in the open, drop to the ground, cover your neck and your head in case something were to come and fall on you, and hold on to the ground. Yes, hold on to the ground and stay there until the shaking stops. Kristen Cashel said here in the chat saying, we've decided to sell our home here in Lincoln City, Oregon, on the coast. Looking to relocate either to Colorado, New Mexico, or Arizona within the year. She says, I will miss the beach though. Kristen, I miss California. I used to live in San Diego. Yes, I was far enough away from the water in case there was a small tsunami where it wouldn't hurt me. But I love the beach. I love swimming at the beach. I love sitting at the beach. I loved hearing the water crashing on the beach. I love surfing. I love teaching my kids to love the water, surf and swim in the water themselves. I love the beach. The last 2 years I was in San Diego because of my job. I never saw the beach. 2 years without seeing the beach. 2 years. Yes, they had the government under President Clinton had basically gotten rid of law enforcement. They gutted our department. I was fortunate enough to be able to keep my job. But for 2 years, because we were shorthanded, I never saw the beach. Even though occasionally I got 2 days off, occasionally I never saw the beach. And I love the beach. Unreal. I totally understand my love for water. I totally understand your love for water as well. But sometimes we have to make a decision to protect ourselves. Living in Lincoln City, Oregon, on the beach, might not be such a good idea, especially when we have a Cascadia megathrust earthquake that's going to hit within the next 2 years. I won't ask you to leave, but I'm advising you that you need to make decisions to help yourselves and to protect yourselves and your families. I'm going to tell you that right now. Linda Covington says Virginia has jobs, rivers, lakes, and oceans. Yeah, they do. They do. That's one of the reasons I am here with my wife in North Carolina. Yes, if we decided to drive about 4 or 5 hours over to the beach, we could be at the beach. But here locally, we have several lakes and river nearby, so we can fish. Kristen's saying too much information on Cascadia to stay. I agree. I'm sorry about that. If I had any way, shape, or form to change things, I would. But things have actually happened in the last 6 years that have given me no choice but to get away from California. Okay? No, I will never be in Washington or Oregon, but I had to get away from California. If you are in a moving vehicle when you start feeling shaking, it might be very difficult to control your vehicle during the shaking. I've seen people try. That's one of the reasons I told you about that motorcycle cop. He lost control of his motorcycle and crashed into a bridge abutment, killing himself. If you are in a moving vehicle, stop as quickly and safely as possible. Stay in the vehicle. Avoid stopping near or under buildings or bridges, trees, overpasses, and utility lines. Proceed cautiously once the earthquake has stopped. Avoid roads, bridges, or ramps that the earthquake may have damaged. After an earthquake, when the shaking stops, look around. If the building is damaged and there is no clear path to safety, go at least to a place you might think is safe. Especially if there is a clear path. Leave the building. Go to an open space away from the damaged area. Just like I did at my apartment complex. Go to an open space without trees, power poles, light poles, or anything else that can fall on you. That's what I did. Go to an open space. If you're trapped, do not move about or kick up dust. Don't move about or kick up dust. Try staying where you're at. That's why I've asked everybody to have a whistle. Put a whistle in your pocket, in your purse. Carry it with you on a necklace, whatever it takes. That way, in an emergency, you can blow the whistle without having to yell. If you yell, you're going to damage your throat. You may end up hoarse, or you might get to the point where you can't even talk or yell. Have a whistle. Also, find something that you might be able to bang on a pipe with. Bang on a pipe or anything else that might create sound of you banging. That way, any rescuers can find you. Don't move about. Don't kick up any dust. Stay where you're at as quietly as possible and blow a whistle or bang on pipes or walls or anything else that might create sound. The rescuers can find you. Tap on a pipe, a wall, or use a whistle so rescuers can locate you. Once you're safe, monitor the local news reports on television and or radio via a battery-operated radio or a TV. Social media, cell phone, text alerts. Do not use your cell phones for voice communications. Avoid using your cell phones for voice communications. Text messaging will get through. If cell phone towers are down and lost electricity, they might have enough electricity to transmit text messaging. Use that to get messages out. Even if you have to text message your local law enforcement, 911. The 911 centers now will get text messaging. They accept text messaging. Understand that. Use that. Okay? Also, check for injuries. Check for injuries on yourself or anyone else. And if necessary, if you can, provide assistance to anybody else if you have training. Provide assistance to anybody else that has training. Do not move anybody who's injured. Do not move anyone who is injured unless you can drag them. Don't pick up their head or turn them on their side. Leave them be. They may have a broken neck. If you try to pick up their neck or their body, you may break their back, you may break their neck, and they'll die. Don't do that. Treat them for symptoms where they're at. Wait for rescuers to help you. Now, I am trained. I am very well trained in first aid and CPR. I'm trained as a rescuer. Yes, I was a cop. I own 3 adult backboards. I own 2 pediatric backboards. So I could actually slide a backboard underneath someone carefully. That way I can move them away from where they're at. You could also do that if you have a large board that can handle their weight. But be very careful what you do. Again, do not move their head. Do not move their back at all. Don Patoka says you need to prepare for the worst. Absolutely. If you're near the coast, learn about tsunamis in your area. If you are in an area, learn about tsunamis, and in that area where you may have tsunamis. When the shaking stops, walk inland to higher ground immediately. Walk inland to higher ground immediately. Monitor official reports for more information. Again, on your AM/FM weather radio. Your AM/FM weather radio. Local authorities will commandeer the National Weather Service frequency to broadcast any emergency updates that you might need to have in your city or town. Your AM/FM weather, you tune it to a news weather station, news talk station, because they will give you local information on your area. Okay? You need to do that. Monitor official reports for more information on what happened, and even about any possible tsunami in your evacuation area. Use extreme caution. Use extreme caution during post-disaster cleanup of buildings and around other debris. This also includes volcanoes. I'm also talking about volcanoes. You don't want to stir up ash by sweeping it. Use a shovel. Wear a mask to cover your face and nose so you're not inhaling ash as well. Do not try to attempt to remove any heavy debris yourself. Wear protective clothing, including a long sleeve shirt, long pants, work gloves, sturdy, thick-soled shoes, and a mask also, so you're not breathing in dirt, dust, or ash. Be prepared to drop, cover, and hold on in the likely event of an earthquake. Now, I know we have a lot more things to talk about when we are putting together an emergency preparedness plan. I've been asking everybody to have an emergency preparedness plan for years now. I'm going to ask you again right now. Write an emergency preparedness plan. Write it down. It has to cover every possible emergency that could happen in your neighborhood, in your town or city, or in your state. If you don't know what could happen, go to the fire department and ask them. Go to your local fire department and ask them. They should know. There may be an emergency manager in your town or city, or even in the capital city where you might live. Call the emergency management agency and ask to talk to someone about emergencies that might happen in your area and how you might prepare for those emergencies. Hopefully what we just discussed can help you. Hopefully get you to thinking about something that you need to do. Something that you need to do to prepare for a volcanic eruption and or an earthquake. And yes, when there is a volcanic eruption, there's likely to be at least a 5.0 large earthquake. Be prepared for it. It's going to happen. I want to thank everybody who's been here during this program tonight. I want to thank everybody that's been here. I appreciate each one of you for being here. I ask the Lord to continue to bless and protect you and your families and those people that you love and care about. Be prepared, guys. Be prepared. Because what we've been talking about tonight is going to happen. What we've been talking about tonight is something that's going to happen. Annabelle Tomasi is saying, our neighbor slipped on ice in her driveway while she was getting her circular newspaper. Amazing, we even heard her crying for help, but we didn't have TV or music, just quiet in the house. So we heard her crying. Please, guys, please also listen for people that might be ill or hurt, that you might be able to be helped. You might be able to help them. Do that. Be ready to help anybody that needs it. Okay? Now, this is Friday. This is Emergency Preparedness Friday. On Monday, I'm going to talk some more about volcanic activity here in the United States and around the world. I'm going to talk about volcanic activity here in the United States and around the world. I'm asking you all to please invite your friends, your neighbors, your family and extended family, people you know here on social media, and also who you know in your area where you work or live. Tell everybody about this program. I want to get as many people into next Monday's program as possible. I'm here to help you. I'm here to protect them as well. So everyone, please help me with that. I would greatly appreciate it. Does anybody have any questions for me? Tomorrow's Saturday. Unless something happens, we will not be on the air. I try to take Saturdays off so my wife and I can have one day together without anything else going on. But when something happens, I do come on the air to talk about it. Whether it's in the middle of the night, the middle of the day, or at night, anytime. If there's something happens we need to talk about, I will be coming on the air to talk about it as soon as the information becomes available. On Sunday, we'll be coming on the air probably around 12:30 on Sunday. We come on the air for Sunday school every Sunday, 12:30. actually between 12:30 and 1 sometimes. But I come on the air with Sunday school. I've been teaching Sunday school for many years now, a lot of years. I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ. I used to be a missionary. Some people consider me to be still a missionary because I teach the gospel. I'm not going to stop. I teach the gospel because I want people to have some faith. I want to help everyone. So I teach Sunday school class on Sundays about 12:30 in the afternoon. So please join me here for Come Follow Me, the Savior Said, Sunday school class, 12:30 Sunday afternoon. Okay? Before I leave, I want to go to Revelations, the first chapter. I want to start with verses 5, 6, 7, and 8. Chapter 1, verses 5, 6, 7, and 8. And from Jesus Christ, who is the faithful witness, and the first begotten of the dead, and the prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loved us, and washed us from our sins with his own blood, and hath made us kings and priests unto God and his Father. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Behold, he cometh in the clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail, and because of him, even so, amen. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is, which was, and which is to come, the Almighty. Brothers and sisters, I believe in Jesus Christ. I read the scriptures every day. Every day I read the scriptures. Number one, I prepare my Sunday school classes every day. Number two, I read the scriptures for my own edification. I read the scriptures to help provide me with a more spiritual day, more spiritual outlook on things that are going on in our lives. Yes, I get high-strung with some people that are out of their minds. I'm former law enforcement. I apologize if I have offended anyone tonight, but I'm here to do the Lord's work. I'm here to help all of you as well, your families, your friends, and everybody else. I ask the Lord to bless you. I ask the Lord to bless you and protect you every day. I love you. I care about you. I respect you. May God be with you this day until we can meet again. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Sunday. God bless.